Hey everybody, John Osborne here, giving you the FX educational outlook for May 3rd, 2017. You can follow me on StockTwits and Twitter at the name TraderJohnO. First, I wanted to mention that the FOMC results came out today, and we had the interest rates remain unchanged, and therefore we have the next pending news will be non-farm payroll on Friday at 8:30 Eastern time. So it's been a little bit of a quiet week as far as predicting which way things are going to go. A little bit of movement down in some of the markets we were watching has happened since this week. And let's take a look and see what's going on before that non-farm payroll announcement on Friday. We'll start out by looking at the pound yen. You can see that we have been watching this move up after breaking this trend line and moving up towards the 148.447 on the weekly, and we've gone through a couple of the recent pivots here. You can see we've moved up kind of nicely here. I'm going to adjust this one to be right there, and this may end up being a little bit of a channel that's forming here. We'll see what happens. And you can see here that as we continue to rise, we're slowing our rise, and you can see we're losing our momentum. So I want to get some confirmation that we can go higher and get above this line right here, and that's around 145.437, and see if we can resume a little bit higher. We are slowing after we've gone through this pivot, and we haven't quite reached that second pivot right there yet. And we want to see if we can get all the way up to 148.447, which is this previous swing on the weekly. But it's got to prove it before it goes there. With the dollar CAD, or dollar loonie, you can see that we have been making this move higher on the weekly, breaking above the 1.35978 previous pivot that we had here, and things are moving nicely, although we are seeing the same kind of momentum drop here as the news is kind of quiet this week. So it's a little bit of a divergence when this is happening. We're getting rising moves and bullishness, yet our momentum isn't following through. But we are breaking through trend lines, just a little bit reluctant as we do that. So be careful with the bullish trades, especially. More on the bearish side, you can see that we've been moving down towards this trend line on the weekly. You can see it here on the daily, and we are right near that, right about at 0.73465. Okay, so we expect to see a little bit of slowing as we approach that line. Now look how bearish our momentum is across the board here. So let's see if we can break through there, or if we're going to bounce. But if we can break through, our first target will be this low here at 0.72727. But let's see how it goes. Remember, it could be a little slow with non-farm payroll coming up on Friday. Some big move down earlier or during the day on the Aussie yen, and you can see this pretty steep trend line that we have here has been broken. A little muddy where to put that trend line here, and we are seeing some pretty good bullishness on our momentum indicator. But if we can break down through here, this could be a resumption of this greater downtrend. And we've been watching this pattern along here in a couple of our symbols or a couple of our markets, and we're still kind of waiting to see what happens, if we're going to bounce or move down through there. So be careful with that one, and we'll see what happens. And finally, in the Aussie US dollar, you can see we broke this support as we move down through this trend line here that we are watching, and we broke right through the previous pivots that were there, and we were making some progress heading lower. So let's watch if we can continue that move lower as we go towards this trend line here, which is around 0.72862, if it dropped right down to touch it today. Okay, and that'll do it for today. We'll catch up with you on our next trading day.